Welcome back to Willigan News. This week we are suffering through Operation Summer. The grind is in hot. People are pulling out their most try-hard strategies to get those kills and base captures and all that stuff. Even I am participating. Normally around this time there's not a whole lot of information being flown around because everyone's focused on the event and Geiger's not talking about anything. However, there was some stuff going on in the forums. So be sure to hit that subscribe button because there's a whole lot of hype built up around the T-90. And for pretty obvious reasons, it's quite an iconic Russian tank. We had the spooky T-90 ghost in that shooting range video, and a few extra sketchy leak lists being thrown around, so this has made a lot of people anticipate that the tank is coming. However, Dream Crusher, Hope Destroyer, and Community Manager Sim10EP came replying to a comment asking, can you give us a probability percentage to adding the T-90A on the next update? For example, if there's 6% probability that the T-90A is being released next patch or so. Seeing a prime opportunity to make Russian kids cry that didn't require punching Santa Claus, Sim10EP came out saying, as I already said previously, close to 0%. We said in the previous but one Q&A, a modernized T-72 was planned for the last update, but did not quite make it, so you can expect that most likely this update, but not T-90. When further expanding on this topic, he states that the T-90A is worse than the T-80U and later T-72s, and also later stating that says, trust me when I say the developers are well aware of how much people want the T-90, and it is coming in the future, just not this update. Although common reoccurring comment by the community manager is that the T-90 is not going to be high tier Russia's savior from the Leo 2A5. So I guess all you gotta tone the hype down a bit. But anyways, the denial of the T-90 for the upcoming patch kind of proves those leak lists wrong as I was anticipating. And it further solidifies the fact that that one T-72 that we heard about in the dev Q&A is the one that's going to be coming. So perhaps the patch after this one will finally see the T-90. And if we do see the T-90, is it just going to be the T-90A? As Sim10AP said, it's worse than the T-80U. So perhaps it's going to be a more advanced variant of the T-90. Or maybe they won't go for the power creep and actually just release the variant that we're all expecting. Also related to this, there was another vehicle that was denied, though there wasn't much hype built around this one because no one was anticipating it, but the Type 10 has a 0% chance of coming. Honestly, it's been a while for Japan to get like some sort of mainline tank. A lot of the vehicles they've been getting are support vehicles like artillery and other bizarre things because they don't exactly have all the tanks in the world. It would be nice for Japan to get a actual tank that like people would use, not just for the memes. Like I thought of a whole list of possible additions to the tree a while back, which I still need to update. Other things that were talked about, not necessarily denied, rank 6 bomber line additions and AGMs, this is AGM-65 Mavericks, was said that there's nothing much they could talk about at the moment, and bombers are not very likely to have any higher additions as they present issues, apparently. However, when asked about more rank 6 jets, they said it's probable. And Stona made a poem about what we could expect. Enemy team is red, my team is blue. I saw some World War II machines, and more modern ones too. Now, in terms of data mines, a lot of information about the upcoming event vehicles was dug up. I actually shared some of that information in my last video, well, only the battle ratings. There actually was quite a bit more, however, I was unable to shove that all into the video. So starting off with the F11 F1, its reported battle rating is 9.0. The repair cost actually had gone up from the first data mine, and now for arcade it's 4,000, for RB it's 11,000, for simulator it's 50,000, which is a lot. Which unfortunately fits Gaijin's MO. Commonly high tier event vehicles have really high repair costs because the repair cost isn't necessarily there to balance the vehicle, it's to slow down your grinding. So if they just give you out a top tier vehicle, you're going to be able to grind out just about the majority of the tree pretty easily, premium or not, especially if it's a good one. So to slow you down there, they just put a high repair cost so you can't purchase the vehicles you're grinding out. Other things besides its repair cost and battle rating, also going to find its loadouts, which consisted of either 4 500-pound bombs to 1,000-pound bombs, up to 38 FFARs, or 4 AIM-9Bs. You can also equip 2 AIM-9Bs with either the bombs or rocket. For the AR-196A3, its battle rating apparently is 1.7, and its repair costs are for arcade 380, for realistic 870, and for simulator 930. For the Leo 2C Maxis, it's at 9.0. Its repair cost for arcade is 2,000, 4,000 for realistic, and 2,000 again for simulator. It also can apparently fire all the same rounds as the Rad Kampfwagen 90, and has Gen 1 thermals as a rank 3 mod. Altogether seems like a pretty good tank. The IKV-70 is 3.0 and had repair costs for arcade of 1,500, 2,100 for realistic, and 2,600 for simulator. For the ships, the Italian torpedo boat at 4.0 had a repair cost of 2,700 for arcade and 2,400 for realistic, and the Russian cruiser had a battle rating of 5.7, with a repair cost for both simulator and realistic of 4,500. Now, the forum user Yuski made the point that something's not adding up here. The Japanese F-86 F-40 is at 9.3 and can take out 16 HVARs, 2,000-pound bombs, or 2 AIM-9Bs, while the upcoming F-11 is at 9.0, 0.3 battle rating lower, while having the possibility to bring out the same number of bombs, more rockets, or more missiles. On top of that, it's also reported to have better performance than any old Saber, being somewhere around the F-100. So many people are coming to the conclusion that it's entirely possible this 9.0 battle rating is only a placeholder, and upon release it will be raised to 9.7 or somewhere around there. And if that happens to be the case, I'd assume you could expect the other vehicles to have a similar situation. I doubt the rank 1 aircraft is going to move too much, or if that would even matter. But for the Italian torpedo boat, 3 Boforces isn't going to cut it at 4.0. Maybe it's going to be 3.7 or 3.3, although 9.0 for the Mexus seems about right to me. Now, also this week we received a Q&A, which wasn't complete garbage. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of it was garbage, but it was better than the last Q&A we had that was complete garbage. So to go through some of this, starting with aircraft questions, the first one was talking about, yo Gaijin, why are you having Mach 2 jets fight jets that can't even go Mach? And the reply was, because those jets lose a bunch, so we gotta give them lower battle range, so it's balanced, my dude. The typical Gaijin answer. But this time they jumped in there saying, well, going to Mach 2, you only really can do that at high altitude, so it doesn't actually matter. Now, I am absolutely garbage at jets and never play them, so I can't really chime in and say this or that. What I can say, though, is it's very unseemly having jets that, like, blast off right off the runway, and you're like, oh yeah, me and my little Saber or MiG is gonna have to fight something that, like, goes insanely fast. Sure, you know, you got missiles, and you can try to get them to turn, but, like, it just doesn't feel right. The next one was saying, hey, you extended ground battle ratings to 10.7, can we have the same for aircraft? And they're like, no, Mach Q times! It's kind of the typical Gaijin response. I think the whole idea is really interesting, because Gaijin is correct. Increasing the number of battle ratings will make it so Q times are longer, because there's less people playing. However, you have to also take into account, if you did extend the battle ratings, it actually could make the game more fun for the individual player, because they don't have to fight vehicles that they have such a hard time going against. So perhaps in the long term, that could lead to more players, then you wouldn't have to worry about queue times. However, I'm not the one in charge of this situation, and it would be a bit of a gamble to take that chance. The final air question was about, can we have some better AAA defense against the Mach 2 jets that we have to go against? My personal tank, get rid of all airfield AA in the entire game. I don't want to see any of it. I know 163 is basically burn through all the fuel in a few minutes and you will have to land, but I don't care. I've dealt with enough base campers to the point where I actually don't play air realistic anymore. It was that and spacebound bombers to the point where I was like, I'm done with this game mode. It's broken and Gaijin has put little effort into actually fixing it. The whole idea of how it works, well, it boils down to fighter team deathmatch. So if you're taking a bomber, you're a waste of time. You're actually harming your own team. If you take an attacker, unless you kill all the ground tackets, you're doing nothing. Unless it's one of those really good attackers, you're just an RP pinata for one of the fighters. Either take a Spitfire or a BF-109 and climb to 10,000 and try to kill everyone, and when you lose and you're the last guy alive, just go fly into the sun and win because the AI ground targets can't do anything and all the bombers were shot down, so the enemy team can't deal with the targets. Or if you happen to already be at low altitude and they're above you, just fly to your base, land, take off every few seconds, fly in a circle, land again, and have the anti-air take care of all the allies who try to kill you. The game mode's broken. I don't know how many times I've lost to that. It's annoying. You win the entire match and then this one dude decides to fly around in circles around his airfield. So you have to hope that at least 3 of you are there so you 2 of you can distract the anti-air while the third guy flies in at nosedive levels and shoots the target before they either take off again or the anti-air actually does get you or you smack into the ground. Now, from what I'm hearing at top tier, the anti-air is targeted towards prop planes, not Mach 2 jets. So you could fly in a Mach 2 and just buzz the airfield and kill all the enemy jets. So people want more sophisticated anti-air to deter this from happening because a lot of the Russian jets have like 3 minutes of fuel. So people are asking so they can stop and refuel for the airfields to be defended with missiles or at least something more sophisticated than 1940s AAA. And thematically, it would look a whole lot cooler if you were to get near the anti-air base and like 163 starts spinning up, firing their tracers at you and some missiles flew off. It would look cool. It'd also be really cool if they could have searchlights if at a night map actually convene on a target, not just randomly rave in the air. Gaijin's reply was that the anti-air was really supposed to deflect the target, keep them away from the field, remind them, hey, this is the no-go zone, and if they stay too long in that area, eventually shoot them down. And missiles are more one-shot. However, as we go farther into jets, it's likely to get more things like that, as jets will have a way to deflect various missiles. What I find funny about this reply is that, honestly, more times than not, when flying around an enemy airfield, I get shot flying away from it than flying around in the area. For tanks, the first question was very exciting, essentially saying, hey, could we have a way you could reconsider the unlocks of various tanks like the Leclerc and the Type-90 as their APF SDS? Their good round is rank 4, so you have to suffer with Heat FS for God knows how long until you unlock that. And they're like, yes, it is possible and planned for it to happen for vehicles of rank 6 and 7, which has the default heat shell. The second question down should get any freeboos real excited. It asks if they're considering to introduce the M833 shell for the M1 and the L26 shell for the Challenger 1 Mark III or the L27 shell for the Challenger 2. And they actually do plan to add the M833 shell for the M1 IP. However, the British and their tanks and shells aren't getting anything because the British can suck it. Really, if you think about it, the British need to forego their sovereignty, become a state of the United States, so we can just combine both of those trees and have the ultimate tree. Wouldn't that be like hilarious? What would Gaijin do in that situation? Let's say that US and Britain decide to join forces and become a singular nation, whatever that happens to be. Would they change the game or be like, well, no, we're gonna go with traditional nations? But like, it would be weird, wouldn't it? What we really need to do is annex Canada so we can get Leos in the US tree. There is a big brain move. There's also a lot of questions about simulator grand battles, most of them convening around, hey, you changed sim, why'd you do that? I actually forgot to care. Well, all except for the last question says, why can't you change mounted weapons on aircraft or helicopters at airfield without losing RP? And Gaijin said something really stupid about, well, then it would be unfair because you could respawn as many times as you like. Like, come on, Gaijin, no, I just want to be able to change missiles to bombs when I'm done shooting down all the enemy jets. God, quit trying to pretend like you did this intentionally and it's not just a bug in your system. Like, we get it, you can't change loadouts because you get the RP system, so respawning mixes with the RP system. Just be upfront about it. Say, oh, it's an issue with the RP system, get over it, GG. Like, people would understand that more than this stupid BS that you throw at us. There's also some questions about helicopters that included, why no longbow Hellfires, plox Gaijin, and they're like, lol, no. Someone asked about Swedish helicopters, and they're like, yeah, eventually. And then someone asked, why can you spawn a helicopter twice with max ATGMs at the beginning? And we're like, don't worry, comrade, it's balanced. Trust us. We looked at numbers, it's totally balanced. Somebody asked if there's going to be more guided missile boats in the future, and they replied saying the type of ATGMs that are on the Italian boat, I guess they're not ATGMs, the anti-ship missiles on the Italian boat, the way they function, they're short range, and not many nations actually bother to do short range, so it's kind of hard to find them. Then there's a question I don't care about, and then on Mist, there was another question I don't care about, but there also was a question about the quarantine maneuvers, saying, hey, people really like that. You think maybe you could show it off to some other people in helicopter EC or naval forces? They're like, yeah, we're not excluding it. But really, if you put it in helicopter EC, people are just going to be like, oh god, helicopter EC is as garbage as I heard it is. And that, my dear friends, is all the news this week. Now, before I end this video, first I'd like to thank my Patreons and YouTube members, starting with the Patreons. First there is Edward, and then Sukublet Edie Nahue. Thank you very much. Starting with a new one who joined during my Minecraft stream, Matthew Cameron. Thank you very much. As well as Lars Henrik, The Royal Rat, Peter Klogunski, Nico Korkamaki, I like them thick, Mehmet Hazarchi, Joel Blopsky, Tex, One Max, Roger Rammer, Grimace, Mighty Peppers, Pointless Gunsinks, and Waffly Joker 6. A big thank you to all of you. Patrons and YouTube members get videos uploaded a little bit early, a unique Discord role, and permissions on my Minecraft server. Speaking of which, should I do another Minecraft stream? I've noticed getting a lot of bot comments, so I'm kind of hesitant to do it. But if you guys want it, I'll definitely do it. But anyways, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can hit me up down below or my Discord. If you've liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Make weekly news videos every Sunday, make reviews throughout the week, and I like to stream on Saturdays. So be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload anything. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good night or day whenever you're watching this. In the terms of bonus news, let's talk about grinding strategies for Operation Suffer. What I've found to be the best vehicle to use is the R3, in which you go and rush the cap, and then you rush the other caps, and then you kill all the lightly armored tanks. Actually, you can just kill about every tank you see in this match, except for KV-1s. Those things will definitely butter your biscuit. But just shoot down a bunch of tanks and planes, get 6 kills, win a bunch because you're capping all the zones. Honestly, though, in my last time around, I found that the Russians are try-harding real hard, and it's full of T-34s and KV-1s, so bit of a tough cookie, but you can still get those cap zones.